Melissa, we are recording this on a Friday night, so Halloween hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
But by time most of the people are listening to this, Halloween will have already happened. So happy Halloween. We hope it was a great one. We hope you had a lot of fun, ate a ton of candy, and got to spook some spooks.
I thought you were going to ask me if I had Halloween predictions here on October 29th.
Halloween predictions. How many ghosts will you see come to your door on Halloween? How many Frankensteins? How many Fortnite characters? Which is just all of them.
Fortnite and Stein.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you have like a favorite traditional Halloween costume? Like I know you can go crazy with like the stuff that is like lesser known or the sexier versions or the puns, right? It's like, oh, I'm three-hole punch Kyle. I just have 3 little dots on me. Right? Like do you have a favorite like classic Halloween costume?
Hard to beat a Dracula.
Good Dracula. That's a good one. Yeah.
Classic.
Indeed.
He's a count. Frankenstein doesn't have a title. Wolfman doesn't have a title. Mummy, Mummy's maybe a pharaoh. I think a pharaoh trumps a count.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. Like I feel like a good classic one is a mummy, and you don't see any more of that. Like that, I feel like that was bigger in the 90s. This is one of those things that, like, as a child, we thought was gonna be a bigger thing, right? Like with the quicksand, and for like Halloween or spooky stuff, mummies. Like we don't get any more mummies. Really, it was all in Scooby-Doo and that Brandon Fraser movie, and that was it.
Brendan Fraser, yes.
Done.
Well, there's Prince Achman Ra from the Night at the Museum series of films, my personal favorite mummy.
Sure, yeah.
Kyle, what's your favorite mummy?
See, that's the thing. I just like me a good generic mummy. Just like no one does that anymore. It's rare.
Regular, plain. Yeah. Would
plain
you do a
mummy?
Do you pose the challenge to yourself?
Would I do one?
Next year, do you want to be a mummy in a Jughead hat?
Sure. I could be mummy Jughead. That just sounds like a British child is called mummy Jughead. Sam is in the chat. What's up, Sam? Yeah, right. Exactly.
Hi, Sam.
Sam says, my friend just beat Chinese Super Mario World on stream. Was very difficult. And then you guys went live. Very nice. Perfect timing. That's how we do here.
Very nice.
Here at the Whatnauts. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Whatnauts Captain's Log, number 167. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa.
Hello.
How are you? How's your week been?
It's been a good week. I tried to do some more intense makeup as it is a pseudo Halloween episode, Halloween Part 2. I'm looking at myself in the camera and it's like, well, I look ghostly. Maybe not in the way I intended. I'll put stuff on in the bathroom. I'm like, this looks great. And then I move to a differently lit environment and I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Lighting really does that. Oh yeah, it can play all sorts of tricks and stuff like that. Because I remember when you first got that like purple light in the back there, you were trying to figure out how to what brightness should I have this on and stuff like that. And you're always like, it's always so dark in my room. I was like, yeah, it's actually a lot darker in here than you would expect than what it looks like back in our rooms here. It's just how it is, how cameras pick it up,
Mm.
stuff like that. So good stuff. Good stuff. My week has been okay. It's been a pretty normal week. I don't think anything too like super eventful has happened. But we did get a brand new Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy video game, and I've been playing that. And that's been a lot of fun. I'm sure you guys will hear me talk a bunch about that on crossplay. But yeah, it's been good. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it. Been enjoying it for sure. But yeah, Melissa, it's like pseudo Halloween. Like you said, do we have any kind of like remaining spooky stuff that we need to do that we missed?
Yes. Well, we have new spooky stuff. I don't think we have spooky old business, but we have spooky new business.
Spooky new business. That's always fun. What is the spooky new? Well, all right. So we have two things written down here. Should we do the spooky new stuff first, or should we get things out of the way and do all of that stuff?
Oh,
first?
And end with the spook.
Yeah.
Let's go through our pop culture news and then let's end with the spook.
Okay. Let's do that then. So first and foremost, Melissa, they canceled Y the Last Man. Why? I'm so upset.
That's very sad.
It
hasn't been on long, has it?
No, they've only gotten one season. The finale is this coming Monday. So the day that this goes live, the finale will be up of season 1. They are going to shop it around to see if somewhere else will pick it up. And I really hope this show gets picked up because it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good. And then I'm a big fan of the comic. You can see right back there, those comics right there on screen are all the Y the Last Man books there. But it's so good. Please go read it, go check it out, go watch it. I'm hoping HBO Max picks it up. Because in a roundabout way, that's kind of where it should be. The comic was originally... Is the comic
like a part of a DC imprint?
Yeah, it was published by Vertigo.
Okay.
Which was owned by DC, but Vertigo no longer exists, so they folded all those into just DC. And yeah, DC is owned by Warner, which is, owns HBO Max. So I hope they pick it up. They probably have some say in there, but it's also like it's not DC proper. It's also a creator, like an indie book. Like it's not it. So like DC might not actually have a say in where it goes and stuff like that. But I hope it gets picked up. So Sam in the chat wants to know, does anybody here watch the What We Do in the Shadows series? Because I have feelings about the season 3 finale.
I haven't seen it because I haven't seen the movie. Kyle hasn't picked it any of the times I've pitched it, and I'm bad about watching things on my own time.
Yeah. I feel... What was the thing... I felt like there was something you checked out that was like this. It was, I guess it's not What We Do in the Shadows, but is there some other like vampire spooky show that you checked out semi recently? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember the last vampire I've seen.
Interesting. Maybe I'm making it up then. Or I thought you had watched this because you have pitched it a few times. Because I know you're like you.
Nope,
this is
yet.
one that you want to check out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it tomorrow. Halloween
you don't
weekend.
need to see the movie. It's a different cast. But Sam also mentions that I should see the movie though. Good stuff. Good
Right.
stuff.
I mean, it's only like, I don't know, 2 hours or less of my life. I should just get it out of the way first.
Right? Yeah. I've heard good things about the show, but I've not dived in yet.
Yeah.
So I have not seen
I'll
what
get
they
there
do in the
eventually.
shadows. Yeah. Yeah, it stinks though. Why the Last Man getting canceled? I was super hyped on this show. I was hoping to do some kind of like spoiler cast on the reactor core, something like that. And I just like I put it out there on Twitter. I was like, do I know anyone that is watching this? And just no responses. Nothing.
Oh no.
And yeah, I
You're the
haven't
last
seen
man.
any kind of marketing for this at all. So I think Hulu, yeah, I think Hulu really just kind of shot themselves in the foot with this one because it is a good show. So
Yeah, they're too busy still running ads for Only Murders in the Building.
right, yeah. There you go. That's that. That's why the last man. I'm sad.
Sorry to hear your
I'm
show
bummed.
got canceled. That is a sort of pain that Hallmark doesn't make a card for. And it's difficult to know what to say. Only that
They really should. I'm sorry your show got canceled. That'd be a great one.
At least we do live in a time where so many things have gotten picked up. You get your Netflix bonus series, you get your movie, you get this one originally was a comic, but like other shows will get a comics continuation or something. Like it's more possible now than it ever has been.
Yeah. In fact, did you know that Fight Club got an official sequel as a comic?
Oh.
Like it is
Fighter Club?
No, it's just Fight Club 2. But it is, like a graphic novel written by the same guy. And it is like this is the official sequel. But yeah, I mean, I guess Fight Club never really got canceled, but since it was just a single,
it was a movie.
It
was based on a novel, wasn't it? Was that a novel one? Like, did this guy write a graphic novel sequel to a prose novel? That's inventive.
He did, yeah.
Huh. You don't hear that often.
I've been trying to figure out a way to pitch that on the review show. Like, I want more things like that of like, hey, this thing got an official sequel in another medium. And here's
it is interesting
3 of those, but I think at one point I had found a second thing that like, oh, I could match that, but I can't find a third. It's so difficult to like be like, no, I don't want an adaptation or a side story thing. Like I want like an official, like this is the sequel of that thing. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll just throw it in there for good measure.
What else we got?
Well, let's see. We got the next big thing, I think, is Marvel updating their movie schedule. Marvel
we didn't already talk about this?
I don't think so. Because I think this came out last week, but last week we did our Halloween thing.
Oh, all Halloween. We didn't talk about
Dune,
anything else.
Which I will circle back around to. You must have
just written it down last week.
Maybe.
Okay.
Let's see. Marvel moves a bunch of movies. Dr. Google.
So
help
what we're
me out.
sitting at now is Doctor Strange was nudged back to like it's just like 6 months later or something, right? Like it's like late April instead of like March. And then Black Panther was next. So now that's pushed from July to like November, like the prestigious holiday season for Black Panther. And then that nudged the Marvels to like the February slot of 2023 and then Quantumania into like the big July tentpole. Do I have that right?
It's something like that. I'm trying to find an article, but of course they make it hard to like know what bits I actually need to read here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so according to Deadline.com, Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness will now kick off summer 2022 on May 6th. That will push Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder. Just
right, I forgot
updated.
about Thor.
Let's see, Thor: Love and Thunder from that summer kickoff date to July 8th, 2022.
Okay.
The only other movie opening against Doctor Strange 2 is on May 6th, features blah, 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 blah. We don't need to know any of that shit. The moves will push Black Panther Wakanda Forever to November 11th, 2022. The movie is currently shooting in Atlanta and will wrap up sometime late next month. Let's see. Black Panther 2 knocks the Marvels into February 17th, 2023. Let's see. And then that will push Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania from that date to July 8th, 2023. And then I think there was, they also moved like Indiana Jones and something like that. But Guardians of the Galaxy
involved.
He's not in the MCU, but that date also got moved in this big shuffling is what I meant. But Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think moved. It sticks to its release date.
Yes.
What is this website doing? Yeah. Stop moving things. God damn it. It's
where like you like to learn about when things move.
It's like the advertisement in the ad spot changes and it's like a bigger one or a smaller one. And so it just like, like loads and it's like, stop moving. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is currently set to kick off summer 2023 on May 5th. So that one's sticking to its guns there. So interesting stuff. Thoughts on that? Are you disappointed? You feel like this is COVID? Is it something else? What's going on in your mind here?
I did watch the New Rockstars breakdown video theorizing like what do these changes mean maybe. And some of their theories were maybe Wakanda Forever is having a longer production time than expected because that one had the biggest jump from July to November. And it's the movie that we know the least about yet. Seems, and it's a project that should definitely like take its time to do everything well.
There are
also theories that and also theories that because Kang, was such a success in the Loki finale that they wanted to put Quantumania in a bigger time slot. And also there were theories of, well, maybe did they nudge that back so that then we could fit in another season of Loki before that? I don't have any of my own original thoughts, Kyle. I'm just repeating what New Rockstar said.
Yeah, to me, it's mostly just disappointment. But I feel like, especially with all the stuff that has happened in Loki, that we are theorizing will happen in Spider-Man, the stuff we've seen in What If, they're all kind of converging in Doctor Strange, kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? And so for that to get pushed back, I'm just like, but no, like we were so close.
It only got pushed back like a month and a half. Like I can handle that. Like after the times we've been having where I had to wait like an extra year and a half for No Time to Die.
Right. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel seasoned. I can handle these. I know how to live now. And like this has been such a great year where we've gotten 4 new like main MCU movies, plus Let There Be Carnage. We've got all of these new TV shows. Like, we're high on the hog this year.
Absolutely. My thought is that it must have something to do with the strike that is going on. I'm not clear on who is striking or why, but the stuff that I have heard, it seems like it is for a great reason, as most of them are. So yeah, like it just like that might have something to do with it of like, hey, let's push these back because I know a lot of studios are potentially affected, or that's the thing. Did the strike happen? I don't know. I didn't stay up to date on all that
I
stuff.
thought I heard that it was prevented, but like, I don't know. Maybe we're talking about two different strikes. No clue.
It might have been something to do with that of like, hey, we prevented the strike, but as a result, like there's going to be less crunch on like working on these things. So, okay, now you guys can actually go home at 5 instead of staying there all night, all week and stuff like that. So it might have stuff to do with that. But yeah, me as as the consumer is just like, I want answers. Give me Doctor Strange. I need it.
We'll get him. You just have to wait like 6 more weeks, Kyle.
I don't want to wait.
Like the groundhog, Puxatawny Phil is going to come out of his little hole in the ground in Pennsylvania, and he's going to see a flying cape in the sky, and that means 6 more weeks of winter, and then we wait, and then we see Doctor Strange. That's how it goes. We all know.
What if Punxsutawney Phil was less to do about the weather, but like had more to do with like the latest blockbuster movie? Like, no, it's gonna be 6 more weeks. Like, you're not gonna get Doctor Strange this month.
A groundhog comes out of a hole and tells you who the next James Bond is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that octopus that predicts the winner of the World Cup.
Do they really do that? We've
been over this.
Yeah. I feel like we've mentioned it on the podcast before.
Okay,
but
World Cup Octopus.
I don't believe it.
Yes. His name's Paul. Paul the Octopus was a common octopus. I believe the specific species name, and they're not like putting him down. Paul the Octopus. He used to predict the result of association football matches. Accurate predictions in the 2010 World Cup brought him worldwide attention as an animal oracle.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, and that was his last one. Born 2008, died 2010. I don't know if that's a normal life for an octopus. But yeah, this is real.
Interesting.
I don't know if he has like a predecessor, if there's like Paul Jr. who predicts World Cup winners, if there's other animals for other sports. But I learned of this once, and I love it.
That's wild. People are crazy and will do all sorts of things for sports.
And like, what they would do is they would put like 2 little like plastic cubes in his tank or whatever that had the different flags on them, and he just
Whatever
sort of like
he picked up,
snare his tentacles around one of them, and it's like Paul picks Germany. Germany's going to take the cup this year.
There you go. That's good stuff, though. Good
Thanks,
stuff.
Paul.
Well, yeah, that's it for the kind of Marvel news. I did want to circle back around.
Oh, did you also hear though? Did you hear that Bill Murray is going to be in Quantumania?
I've heard rumors of that. I don't think I've seen it confirmed though. Have they confirmed it yet?
Again, a new Rockstars video, my number one source for news. They said that it was confirmed, which also surprised me because that was the first time I was hearing of it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, but Marvel's been kind of waffly on some casting announcements lately where it's like Tatiana Maslany is She-Hulk, or maybe she's not. Nope, don't worry. Yes, she is.
Yeah. So here's again from Deadline. I don't know why I keep choosing Deadline, but Bill Murray hints he appears in Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. This is from 2 days ago. According to a German newspaper and Google Translate, Bill Murray may be taking his superpowers to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Maybe that's just who he talks to. Like, maybe Bill Murray's like, I'm only going to give this report to a German newspaper.
I don't know. Like, maybe he was out there? Was he filming something? Because it says in an interview with the reputable German newspaper, Frankfurter Allgemein, I don't know if I said that right, the often unpredictable actor let slip the words, quote, recently I made a Marvel movie, end quote. So who knows what that means exactly? I don't know. I'm looking for any more things that say like, here's why we think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, maybe I was watching something that was like
to shoot
more theoretical than I thought it was.
Anyways, yeah, I mean,
we can talk about it later
like
when we have more details.
He'd be an interesting addition. I don't know who he would be, or if he has just like a cameo bit part or something else.
He could be anything.
He a variant of Kang? Someone who's been stuck in a time loop for a while there, you know?
He could be himself. What if he's the oldest Scott?
There you go. Yeah.
We're getting into time travel antics. We've seen baby Scott. What if he's old Scott?
Yeah. Who knows? But Bill Murray.
For casting announcements that exciting to have him in the mix anywhere. The next piece of casting news we got is that we have confirmation now. We got Hayden Christensen back as Anakin in the Ahsoka show.
Yeah, we do. I think he was rumored to reprise his role in Obi-Wan.
Right. Was that confirmed? I feel like maybe that was. And now he's you know what? He's in the other one too.
You're right. I think it was confirmed that he would be returning for Obi-Wan, but yeah, now they're bringing him on for Ahsoka. So that's cool. That's going to be interesting to see. I'm curious to see what they'll do with him there in those things of like, how much will he be Anakin? How much will he be Darth Vader? Will it go back and forth? Will they do the like de-aging thing to make it like a younger version of him if they do a flashback? I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe
I know
one of these days we'll have to do like a Star Wars rewatch thing and watch all the movies or something on one of our shows. That'd be fun.
I'd like that a lot. I don't know a lot about Star Wars. I like it. What I like most about it is the lore around it, not the lore in it. I can't tell you anything about the Clone Wars, the show, or the wars, but I just like weird extraneous like arcana about Star Wars. Like I love things like the holiday special and the ice cream machine and how Boba Fett originally made his first appearance before even the holiday special as just a costume character walking around a local California parade around like the Skywalker Ranch.
I remember us looking that up. Yeah.
Right. And I know very little about what happened to Anakin between like the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope. Well, I know that scene in Rogue One where he fights all the guys in the hallway. And I know that like Ahsoka was his mentee in the Jedi program. I know just very basic bullet points. I'm just excited that we have this actor who is in a performance that was maligned at the time, who is getting not once but twice to like come back, do it again. As the more matured performer, perhaps in a world where we have a more matured look on that character and what those films were. I'm happy for that.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like the internet is now maybe more volatile or more willing to be, but like that was one of the earliest memories I have of the internet attacking someone for like, we didn't like your performance. We hate, like, you ruined Star Wars. Like, it just like that vitriol. Like that was one of the like earliest cases of that I remember. I mean, there has been stuff like that in the past where like, but it just like not where it was like on the internet and like this was the thing. I don't know, but
previously you would have had to mail him a letter or hang up a flyer in your local laundromat saying what parts of Star Wars you didn't like.
Exactly. Call in your local radio station or something, right? But now it's all on the internet.
Request.
Previously on the internet. Good stuff. You know what? That's what we should do. We should name our pop culture segment on this podcast Previously on the Internet.
Well, that's like everything, though. The Mountain Dew fan wiki is previously on the internet.
But that's meant to be more of like, here's what happened this past week, right? All of the pop culture news there. Us just like messing around, being like, let's check the Mountain Dew fan wiki this week. What's new? What's new on Mountain Dew?
New on Dew.
Yeah. But yeah. What else was I gonna say? Oh, there was also there was something Oscar Isaac said about playing Moon Knight. That he had a blast playing Moon Knight or something like that. I don't remember.
That's good to hear.
What it was, but yeah, there is that thing there.
What were you going to say about Dune? Speaking of Oscar Isaac.
Yes. So last we spoke, I got to see Dune. You hadn't yet.
I have seen Dune.
You've seen it now, yeah. But last week we didn't really get into it all that much. I think I mentioned that I had seen it and you were about to, and stuff
last
like
we
that.
spoke on the captain's log, not last we spoke as individuals. I feel like as individuals we may have talked a bit more about Dune.
Yeah,
but here on the show, yes, we have time to dig deeper, deeper into the sands where the worms live.
So Dune, Melissa, what did you think as someone who went into this with almost no knowledge of this besides the like small bits that I mentioned?
Yeah. Sand plus worms equals Dune.
Yeah.
I liked it. It's very pretty, which we all knew what it was going to be, right?
Yeah.
But it was a real treat to watch. I got to watch it at my friend's house who has the finest home theater setup of any person I know personally. On a big like OLED TV, surround sound. It was really nice. Just beautiful people. I think it's wild that Jason Momoa's character is named Duncan Idaho, which I'm sure is the name in the book. I just think it's wild people aren't talking about that more.
I've seen
like
some
Duncan
jokes
Idaho
on stuff. Yeah,
it
just
sounds
making
like
fun of his name. It's just like, oh, this guy must have hated Idaho because he tried to dunk an Idaho the whole book here.
A Dunkin' Idaho is an iced coffee with a potato in it.
Ooh, potato coffee. Interesting.
A Dunkin' Idaho is like the Asylum film's knockoff of Napoleon Dynamite.
It
they
sounds like
have
one
their
of those
own dorky boy in a suit named Duncan Idaho.
It sounds like one of those sex moves you don't want to look up. You're like too scared to like look up on the internet. Like, right. Ooh, did he do a Duncan Idaho with her?
Oh man. If it isn't already, it's gonna start now. People are gonna come up with whatever the Duncan Idaho is. Maybe the Duncan Idaho is that you just look lovingly into somebody's beautiful eyes.
It's something else that I thought was really funny is that I saw someone comment on the fact that like the entire movie is like very, very serious. Like there's almost like no smiles, no jokes, all of that stuff, except
no one
for
laughs.
the two. Ooh, I just spit all over my mic. Except for the like 2 times that Paul just runs and jumps into Duncan Idaho's arms. And he's just like, Duncan!
That. When you were reading this book, I asked you, is Paul a nice boy? And you said that he was.
And
that's
like a nice
true. Like
boy.
it is a serious movie, but I do like that there is a lot of like love and companionship going around. Like Paul likes his parents. His parents like him. He's best pals with Duncan. he's got kind of a tough love relationship with Josh Brolin, but even then, it's like, I don't know, like there's less like backstabbing intrigue like among this main like pocket of like House Atreides than I would have expected. It's just like Stellan Skarsgård sitting under his like grocery store produce mister who does all the intrigue at them. He sends Dave Bautista out to do intrigues.
Yeah, it's so the only caveat that I will add to that is when you asked me of if Paul is a nice boy, I think at that point I was halfway in the book. By the end of that book, he is less like, oh, he is a nice boy, to like, oh, he is maybe going down a path that is not good, but maybe it'll turn out to be. Who knows? Like it's a chosen one story, right? But it's it's like one of those things of like, okay, when you get that power, like you're just a kid. In the book, he's 15 when all of this goes down. And so it's just like I don't know, like you came into all of this power basically finding out that you're the chosen one very fast.
Right.
What kind of man are you going to become here? And I feel like that's part of the tension of the book of just like, what are you going to do
he's
next?
Just a boy.
Yeah.
He just, sometimes he practices swords. One time he put his hand in a box.
Yep.
Those are his qualifications to be king. One time he put his hand in a box.
I just can't wait to put my hand in a box. Yeah.
Best hand in a box scene I've seen in movies. I liked that part. I liked when Stellan Skarsgård like floats up. Like he can just fly, which is wild, but he's wearing like a super, super long robe. Yeah. And at first, when he flies up and like the robe drapes behind him, I thought he was a worm man. And just like the fact that he can fly is cool. Right. I thought he was just long. Like you've seen those memes of long cat. I thought he was just long cat.
So in the book, they do describe that he is a bigger guy, and that the suit that he has on like helps him to stay up, and they described it more as a like a floating, so not like he's flying or he can like go up to the ceiling and zoom around and stuff like that, but just this thing to like just maybe help him stay up and stuff like that. Like that, I feel like in the book they made it sound like he was bigger than in the movie, like he was fatter in the book than what they showed on screen. But because they did the flying thing in the old one too, in the old one, and he was a lot. I don't want to describe him as nimble, but he was more nimble in that one, whereas this it felt slow and purposeful, right? But I think it went
the whole movie is slow and purposeful.
Well, sure, yeah. But man, that one there's one scene where you see him like up in the corner, like in the ceiling there.
Yes,
that was kind of scary. I was just like, oh, okay,
just scuttling around like a spider.
Yeah, trying to get away from some stuff that's happening there, but we won't spoil it. All of that stuff, but yeah, it's an interesting movie. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it fun, like you said. Like there's some warmth to it, but there's not a lot of levity, except for Jason Momoa's sparkling eyes and kind smile. But
Duncan Idaho's warm embrace.
Yeah, the warm mashed potato. It'll envelop you. But it's a treat to look at. It's well performed. I got to give it up to Rebecca Ferguson. There's a lot of her in this. There's so much mom. Yeah. I love that we've been on this trend lately of these like action adventure movies that are very like mom focused. Where like even if like there's not a lot of mom in it, like to the main protagonist, their mom is very important. Martha Wayne, Martha Kent, Meredith Quill, others.
Yeah. Indeed. I thought it was good. I think a lot of people are finding it interesting and beautiful. It's just like, hey, this is a sci-fi thing that does not feel like Star Wars or does not feel like Star Trek.
True.
Like it is its own thing, and that's cool.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I think that is about all I have for like pop culture stuff. So we will take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up all the spooky stuff here. So we will be right back. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make, and yes, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and we'd love it if you would check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in the Whatnauts, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnauts, patreon.com/The Whatnauts is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/The Whatnauts, and we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you want to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnauts.com/store to pick up some merch today. And we are back. All right, let's see. Big shout out to our Patreon supporters, especially those at the $5 tier and above. So thank you to Sam, who's been here in the chat.
Thanks, Sam.
We appreciate it. We love you a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Cool things that we have done here on the Whatnauts lately. Horror month on the review show is continuing. This week we watched Suspiria. We watched the old one and we watched the new one. I think there was actually one from 2006, but I don't know. I don't remember. I saw something in Amazon from 2006 that was named Suspiria, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, we watched the old one and the new one.
1977 and 2018, I think.
Correct. Yeah. What else have we done here on the Reactor Core? Melissa, you and I just reacted to the brand new teaser trailer of Lightyear, this new Pixar movie about the man that inspired the toy Buzz Lightyear, but the man is a fictional man, so it's just like the fictional story about the fictional man that inspired the fictional toy in the fictional movie. That I don't know.
The emotions are real.
Yes, emotions are very much real. And that one was very different than I was expecting, but I liked what I saw so far. So that is what I will say about that one. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Okay. Melissa, you have a game that we should play. I do have a game! Yes. You said you told me off mic, you're like, I prepared a game for the show, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be exciting. So tell us about the game.
It's not a game you can win. There aren't points. The game is that
I was so
wheel
excited,
your chair
Melissa.
out of the room,
Yeah.
down the stairs. I'm going to give you some well-known horror monsters, antagonists, protagonists, monsters. And I'm going to give them one slight difference.
Okay.
And I need you to tell me if that difference makes them more or less scary to you.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
I'm interested. Let's
Freddy
go.
Freddy Kreuger, picture him wearing a striped sweater.
Mm-hmm.
If the sweater has polka dots instead of stripes, is that more or less scary?
I feel like less scary. I feel like I would laugh and just be like, where did you get your fashion sense, dude? like, because how ripped up are his clothes? I don't, they're not like super ripped up. They might have like a hole or two, but is that right? I don't know.
I think there's some slight wear and tear. I've seen distressed jeans in the store that look worse than the sweater. It's like it's mostly intact.
Yeah. Sam says in all caps, "It's called fashion, sweetie. Look it up."
See, my thinking was polka dots a silly pattern.
Yeah.
But is it so silly that it loops back around and it becomes intimidating? Or do the polka dots make you think of something clown-like? Does adding that into the mix increase any fear?
Sam mentions, no, I said sweaty. It's called fashion, sweaty. Look it up.
It's called fashion, sweaty.
No, like I think for me, if he was in more of like an avant-garde thing that had polka dots, maybe more on the like Edward Scissorhands kind of side of things, but like big giant collar or something like that would maybe be more intimidating, because like that seems very purposeful. Or
my God,
like something like that. But if he just has on like a polka dot sweatshirt, right? It's just like, what are you doing, dude?
Kyle, I love this concept of let's take all these classic horror movie villains, but they're just like avant-garde fashionistas.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
This is, I need a designer to design this. I can't imagine it myself. I just want my eyes to have already seen it. Jason Voorhees, you know the man.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey mask, machete. Key weapon is his machete, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's from a camp background. He lived and died at camp. He lived many other places as well, but that was the final place that he lived before he died. I was thinking, you don't really find a machete at camp. It's not supposed to be there. The number one weapon of camp is bow and arrows for archery practice. So Kyle, if Jason Voorhees has a bow and arrow, is that more or less scary?
That's a difficult one, because on one hand, I want to say it's more scary because he doesn't need to be up close to get you. Like the machete, right? He has to be right there to hack you and slash you and stuff like that. The bow and arrow, he can snipe you. Like from
he can be stealthy.
Yeah. You won't even know he's right there. But then I feel like that also maybe makes him less scary, because I feel like with that distance you can do more. You can get stuff between you and him. You can dodge it. You can, like, you have more of an advanced notice if he's not being stealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it could go either way, and just like I'm sure you've heard on like a CSI or a Law and Order to like stab someone, like that is often much more a crime of passion, right? Because you have to get up close, and so I feel like it would almost be scarier for him to be up close and like hacking you with this thing. So I don't know.
Right, and if you replace his weapon, if you replace his blade, he's no longer a slasher. To be like a slasher movie icon, you must slash.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bow and arrow in a horror context, and now I would like to.
Interesting, for sure. Well, there's Daryl and his crossbow in The Walking Dead.
Oh, I've never seen one of those.
Well, they're dead and they're walking, so there you go, you've seen them all. I don't know, I feel like I might have to lean with no on this one.
Okay,
just to go
got
with
two no's.
The machete still trumps it.
Okay, Next, we move on to the next, the big three guys, Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware that his like white mask originally was not within the narrative of Halloween the film, but like in the production story of how Halloween the film was made? That is a Captain Kirk Halloween mask that they painted white. You look at his face and you can tell like, oh yeah, that is William Shatner.
I have never looked close enough to notice. That's news to me.
Whoa, that's one of my favorite film facts.
Wow, okay. Did not know that.
So my question is, if they had taken, instead of a Captain Kirk mask, a Luke Skywalker mask, imagine like a big rubber Luke Skywalker mask, and they painted that like completely matte white, do you think that would be more or less scary?
Ooh, can I call a draw on this one? I feel like it would have the same effect. Like it is like, because you've said that there's been what, like The Purge and stuff out there. You've seen people in masks, or like they rob banks in the like JFK mask or stuff like that, or like a Bill Clinton mask. All of those masks are oddly creepy and just like weird ways.
Right.
And so
I've never seen a non-creepy mask. I've never seen a wholesome, comforting mask.
Well, maybe some things, but the like, here's this like well-known politician mask that you have on, or here's this like well-known actor mask that you have on. There's just something creepy about it. Like, this is someone else's face. Like it's not like a Ninja Turtle mask where it's like, okay, this is obviously like a comic book character, but it's like that's Mark Hamill. This is weird. Like I don't know, but then to like distort it in a weird way and paint it all white is also, there's an extra level of creepiness to that. But I don't know if I think this really comes down to who's creepier, Mark Hamill or William Shatner. And I
didn't want it to be a debate of that. My thinking is that at the time when these actors are their characters, Luke Skywalker is a much younger man than Captain Kirk is.
Right.
So if you've got like a mask based on, this movie came out in 1979, so it would have been a mask based off New Hope when he would have been quite a boy. Yeah. Like, you've got a boy mask instead of a man mask. Like, does that make any difference? To have like a youthful face painted this haunting matte white.
I would say, in an odd way, I would say yes. That it might be, because it still has that like weird oversized skin mask of someone else's face creepiness, but there's also the trope of like young kids in horror stuff, or like younger people, right? Of just like, there's the twins in The Shining, there's the girl in yellow, and all of the Cthulhu stuff. This is this the right? If I did this in charades, would you know this is Cthulhu?
I'd guess Cthulhu, or I'd guess Dr. Zoidberg, or Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Yeah. One of those three.
For audio listeners, I have both my hands like up underneath my chin, just dangling. We know what it looks like.
We can imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's something about just having that like younger innocence kind of themes applied that can be creepier. So I would say yes.
Okay. My point isn't to get you to any particular answer. This is just a thought exercise. It's barely a game. Moving on to the ladies category. Carrie, she went to prom, and then all these kids who were bullying her dropped a vat of pig's blood on her head. Okay?
Okay.
Imagine instead, they didn't have access to pig's blood. Why should they? And instead, they dumped a vat of cafeteria gravy on her head. How would you feel if you were a student at that high school and now there's this gravy girl who's psychically attacking you as opposed to blood girl?
I don't know. I feel like blood is just inherently scarier to humans in general, right? Because it's like that should be on the inside.
Not often called scary.
Right? Yeah, it's like that should be on the inside of someone. Why is it on the outside? That's not right. Something's wrong here. Where it's like if you're just covered in gravy, I'm just like, oh, that's gross. Sorry, like that sucks. Does the locker rooms have showers or something you can use? I don't know. But if she is like psychically attacking me at the same time, and she is this like food monster, I guess she's not like a monster, but just like covered in gravy and psychically, that would still be pretty scary. But I don't think it would be as scary as blood.
I think there's a certain tragedy to it. If you in your final moments, I've never seen Carrie. I don't know exactly what she does. She does something psychic and hurts a bunch of her peers. But like maybe she's like, I don't know. I think it's a high school gym prom. Maybe she's like pulling the bleachers down on you or something. Imagine in your final moments, what you smell is gravy. And it takes you back to like Thanksgiving with your family. And you're like, I don't get to live to Thanksgiving this year. This gravy girl's got me.
Butter toast.
So I don't know if it adds extra fear, but I think it adds extra pathos.
Confusion for me. Like if I didn't
for
know
sure.
that it was gravy like until my final moments, and like that's one of the last thoughts that I have. It's just like, is that gravy? Right?
And then you die thinking of gravy and you go to gravy heaven.
Yeah. On the gravy train. I don't know. I just like, I don't think that one would be as scary.
Okay. A lot of some of these are kind of silly. The next one is moving from another Stephen King character to another. Okay. Christine. You know Christine the car. Beep, beep.
Sure, the second cousin twice removed of Lightning McQueen, right?
You are aware that there's a scary red car named Christine, right?
Not being a big horror fan, no, I don't. I'm not.
Well, how about you Google her? Google Christine the car. Take a look at her. She was a 1958 Plymouth Fury.
Christine the car. Images. Let's go to let me actually make sure the browser's on the right thing here. Yep. Okay. Bam. Now you guys can see Evil sold separately. Christine is up for auction. That's the first thing I see.
We're not going to buy her. Just look at her.
Results.
Do you understand?
Melissa. I want to blow the budget and buy Christine the car.
All our Patreon money buying a Christine.
Okay, so evil sentient car.
Right. Now Google the car Pontiac Aztec.
Okay.
And just imagine if this was an evil car. How would you feel then?
Aztec with one C, right?
Aztec with a K.
With a K? Oh, I think it still gave me the things. Yeah. Okay. If it was all right, so if it was this like SUV, this like
this like weird boxy SUV. I don't know what color. Maybe she's still red.
Got a red one here, yeah. That's a good question. What's scarier? I feel like I feel like the muscle car or kind of muscle car, I'm not sure if Christine proper would count as a muscle car.
I believe she
but
qualifies.
It kind of has
yeah.
that look, right?
Yeah.
To me, I feel like that's scarier because it's going
Okay.
to probably be louder or like have
that's
like
a good point.
It is a muscle car, right? It is supposed to be like this is powerful, whereas an SUV is meant for off-roading, so might be able to chase you in more scenarios and stuff like that, right? But
this is just interesting thinking.
It's not like I don't feel like it's not presenting as scary, if that makes sense.
Right. You make a good point about how being the car that Christine is, she is a louder car. Cars just were louder back then. That is an interesting element to add to the fear. I don't know if the Pontiac Aztec, I just Googled like ugly cars and this came up. I'm like, that one looks good. This is also apparently the car that Walter White drove in Breaking Bad, which was another reason why I picked it. I thought you may have some familiarity with it then. It's like, what if she was like a weird, clunky, boxy SUV, which is a larger car? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know about cars. Maybe it's heavier. Maybe it's stronger.
Yeah.
I don't know if the type of car that it is makes much of a difference when you're already under the threat of a living car at all.
The only other argument I could see to reverse that is like if you look at the Christine car, if it's in like perfect condition and has a great paint job, it almost feels more delicate with that like glossy candy apple red, right? It feels more plastic, even though I know it's not, whereas the SUV might actually be more plastic, but it has that like 1950s, like, I don't know, like, not daintiness, that's not the right word there, but just like there's a certain quality to it that is just like, okay, that's not as scary. It seems more like a model or a
it seems like a toy. It seems like a ceramic figurine that your grandma has on a shelf. Like, remember the old days? That's the car your grandpa drove when we were first dating.
Yeah, so maybe it's something like that.
Okay. The final question, Kyle.
Okay.
Samara, the little girl from The Ring. Well, The Ring video as a whole. You've seen The Ring, or at least you know kind of what that video is, how the story goes.
I have seen that one, yeah.
Good. I like The Ring a lot. The Ring's a favorite of mine. If this was a CD instead of a VHS tape, do you think that could make this more or less scary?
It could. I feel like VHS holds a particular nostalgic factor in horror, especially that like low quality, you can't really make out what you're seeing.
Yeah.
A CD could hold that same quality video on it, but we also know it can hold other things, right? It could.
What I'm not imagining that this is like. I'm not imagining that this is the same video, but it's just on like a CDR. Oh, right. I'm imagining like, what if instead of this was a video, it's like a weird set of audio. It's like a weird audio file that you find on a CD, and that gets copied and passed around.
Interesting, because that's also, I feel like, can go both ways, right? Because you don't see it, you can easily, like, your imagination can run wild with like what like whose voice is that, or am I like listening to something that I shouldn't be? What is this? Like, your imagination can just run. But I think there is like a certain level of scariness of having an actual picture of something just stuck just right there, and you can't get rid of it. You can't help but think about that one thing that looked like a person that might be back there. Like, you don't know. Um, I don't know. I feel like fear of the unknown is a huge factor in that. So I'm gonna say I think it does have potential to be scarier, but I feel like it could go either way, if that makes sense.
Okay, this is the strongest yes for me. I think the CD could be scarier because if it's a VHS tape, you're watching it like on a TV, which is in like a living room somewhere. If it's on a CD, you can take that anywhere. You can play that in your car, in the woods, in the dead of night. You can have that like on your Discman as you're walking home alone. Anywhere this thing could happen to you.
Yeah. And so what I was trying to get to when I first mentioned this Hades stuff is that like it could also host a video, right? It could have that stuff because you can do that. It can also host a virus on your computer. Like it can do more things than just be like, hey, here's this sound or here's this picture or here's this video. It can start infecting more and more things. And then, like you said, there is that like portability factor, right? That you don't need to like wheel in a CRT with a VHS hooked in that you had to like fix up from some pawn shop, stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like this one has the most potential to be scarier, but it could go either way still.
Another thing to think about is that instead of Samara crawling out of a TV screen, she would be crawling out of a disk drive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's way scarier or much too silly. If she's just like squeezing out through the disk slot in your car.
Or like out of your headphones in the in your Walkman. Stuff like that. So we have an entry from Sam, actually.
What does Sam say?
Let's see. Sam says, my entry has an obvious answer, but obvious zombie, but they're walking and talking like a regular person. She says, additional info. They are friendly and just trying to live their life like before they died.
Yeah, if you take the zombie at face value, like you don't believe that, oh, you're just like running on old programming, you're not being sincere, your brain just remembers the track of how to handle a polite conversation. You believe that this is truly a living human soul that's just in some sort of a zombie body. I think it's much like with the gravy. It's less scary, but it has some sort of added tragedy to it. I'm more sad now.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's just, to me, it's more mystery, right? It's like, there's only so much we can understand about death, right? And so this idea of like, oh, zombies are like, what if the dead come back to this like life in air quotes, right? And so it would just be more mystery of like, okay, we can understand that to an extent because we've had all of this fiction about it that's been popularized, but then to like have full-on conversations with you and you're trying to go work at Popeyes still. It's just like, should we get you a different job? Is this sanitary? Like, do we like there's just more mystery and like how are you talking? What's going on here? Why? Like, dude, you can make so much. You don't have to work at Popeyes, dude. Like, you are one of a kind.
Right. Oh yeah. With a living zombie, there may be less like a horror movie fear and more fear of like a social faux pas. You know, like you. Like you don't invite your zombie friend out to dinner because you know they don't eat, but then they feel left out. But then also when you do invite them to dinner, then they just sort of sit there awkwardly.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Sam, you mentioned you're exploring that idea in fiction. This past week on the review show, as a like recommendation for the thing that we watch,
Yeah.
I pitched a comic called Revival that is basically that. There is a number of people that die and they come back to life, but then just kind of continue on with their life like nothing happened. But they also don't necessarily look like zombies. But it is this idea that these people have died, they came back to life, they don't know how, but they can carry on conversations. They just want to go back to working at Popeyes or wherever they work. So that would be one to check out if you want to get some inspiration, stuff like that. So there you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Let me see if I can come up with one here. Let's see. Trying to think of one for Frankenstein's monster. Like it's Frankenstein. Oh, here we go. Frankenstein, except it's like tiny. Like
I was thinking about changing up sizes on things. Yeah.
Like how, because like the idea is right that he's like this like stitched together human, but like, how did you make it tiny? What did you do?
Right. Are those baby organs in there?
Sure. Yeah. Are these baby parts?
How little? Is he baby sized or is he like action figure sized? Because I'm picturing a little Frankenstein.
I would say at the most like a foot tall.
Oh man. Oh, you just like put him like in your pocket. Put him in your glove compartment.
You just sit right here on my shoulder. Little
right.
Frankenstein.
Well, the thing about Frankenstein is that he's not like really scary to begin with. He's just
misunderstood.
This sad boy. Right, he just woke up one day. He's covered with like scars and stitching. Oftentimes he's green. He's got bolts in his neck. He's like, nobody else has these. I feel like an outcast. Why am I so strong?
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Like I feel like it would almost be less. It depends, right? Because we do mention like, what if he is made out of baby parts? That would be horrifying, right? I think that would be much scarier. To see that monstrosity. But if it was just like normal adult proportions, but just tiny, it might not, like, I don't feel like that would be as scary. Like, I feel like the size of Frankenstein also helped with that. Just like, because he also was, right, like a foot or two taller. Yeah, so that size is intimidating.
Like he got extra leg put in there.
Yeah, but
he's got several knees.
If he's just like a 2 foot tall, but like normal, like adult male proportions, right? It's just like, okay, you're not as intimidating. But then there's also the like, I feel like if he's smaller, he might be faster.
That's true. I was thinking of asking you if Chucky is scarier if he's action figure sized instead of like Cabbage Patch doll sized.
Ooh,
and then I realized that's just the movie Small Soldiers. And we should just watch Small Soldiers.
Man, I remember when that came out. This is the
answer to every question we're asking.
Wow. Small Soldiers. I thought you were about to go the opposite way. Like, what if Chucky was like a life-size doll?
I was wondering this also. Like I went through a lot of different drafts of this, Kyle.
Size.
Like, I was thinking about Jigsaw. I was listening to a podcast talk about like the Halloween Horror Nights happening at Universal Studios. And they've got like costumed characters for all these, popular horror movie characters running around. And they were saying how they do cast like littler people to play Jigsaw when they want a Jigsaw that moves around because he's like a ventriloquist dummy or whatever
Sure,
he is.
yeah.
I'm like, is Jigsaw more or less scary if he's like 5'6"? Like taller than me, but smaller than you.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it would almost be the same, but yeah, there is that like creepiness of like not knowing, like, is that a child behind there? Like, I don't know. Weird.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. We did have one other Halloween thing. I don't know if we have time to figure this out and hash it out.
We make our own time, Kyle.
We do make our own time. I might actually save this one and have us come up with. So basically, what I was gonna do is have us come up with our top 5 like horror recommendations that we've covered on the review show. A while back, Melissa, I came to you with an idea of like sometime on the captain's log, we need to come up with lists like these, like our top 5 crime stories or our top 5 K-drama recommendations when we can use something like that. But my idea is that we can then use those lists as like shorter YouTube content stuff of like, hey, here's 5 recommendations in the sci-fi genre. And it's not the like, here's the 5 best sci-fi things we've ever seen in our whole life, but it's just like, hey, here's 5 things that we recommend. So it might, there
things
might be
from the review show.
Exactly. It might be one that's a classic. It might be one that's a comic. Might be one that you just hey, this kind of flew under the radar. You might not know about it, or like, hey, this is a like foreign thing. Like this is a Korean show, but it is one you should check out. And so I am hoping to make at least a good handful of videos like that next year, but I was hoping to do the horror one this week here, to just go through that list, but I might save it for next week and then bring a couple other lists of like next week. Let's just hash out some of these lists here,
okay,
that we can do. I think that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do we have any time to talk about haunted houses, or do we have to wait until next year?
Sure, but yeah, let's do this then. Haunted house.
Also, looking back on our time in the review show, I want to ask if there were any review show titles we covered do you think would make particularly fun haunted house attractions, like in the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights?
Yeah. When I saw you put this on there, the one that instantly came to mind was Queen's Gambit. Right?
Oh,
like it is
interesting.
It has this like royal nature to it, but it feels almost like it could easily feel vindictive, right? Like this is the Queen's Gambit. This is her revenge, or the thing that I don't know, but that would that could feel like some sort of haunted attraction horror thing.
Oh,
I don't know.
What I did, like literally based on solely the title itself, because I was thinking about just like things we covered, like not just like we're gonna take the name The Queen's Gambit out of context. Like no, you had to pick, when I meant titles, I meant like show, movie, book, comic, etc., etc.
Oh, okay. I see.
Right.
What things aren't horror that would make interesting horror? Here's a good one. Sweetness and Lightning. How about that?
I did think about this. What if you go into a haunted house and the premise of the haunted house is just your dad has a cold? You have to go to the store alone, get a medicine.
Right, but like, Sweetness and Lightning is this anime, or it's a manga as well, but it's about this father basically trying to learn to cook for his daughter because the wife and the mom recently passed away, and he just doesn't know, like, she's tired of the same old stuff that he doesn't know how to cook. But yeah, like, what if he's like cooking all these weird things, or there's like the cannibalism aspect or stuff like that, and like she doesn't know, but that like he is like somehow like feeding her this stuff. That'd be bad.
Okay. Yeah, bad. I can see that as a tableau you would walk through in a haunted house.
Yeah.
When I thought about this, the first thing that came to mind for me is something that isn't a horror title, but like has some horror elements in it, which is Irredeemable. I think a super cool theme for a haunted house attraction would be that you are in the lair of a Justice League type superhero group, and the most powerful superhero has gone rogue and is attacking the base.
Yeah.
You've got all these other different superhero archetypes running around, using their powers. Or you can put like pyro effects in there, like pull out all your special effects. Anything can be a superpower.
Right.
And there's that panic of, he's right on us. Radar shows he's coming down to the base. He's going to destroy us. And you've got that horror and also that confusion of, this guy's our friend. He's our hero. What's happening? Why is he doing this?
Yeah. Interesting. Man, I am trying to see here. What else do we got? There's a
lot to chew on. I was thinking about how like Dark is a show that has some horror elements to it also, but I don't know how you would make Dark into a haunted house. Like, sure, you could set up like the cave tunnels that you crawl through and the little door you open, but like, what are you going to do? Hire an actor that looks like the old version of every person who comes through your haunted house?
Right. Here's one a long time ago, back on June 25th, 2018. We read the first 2 volumes of Department H, or Depth.
Oh,
and it was this like locked room murder mystery, basically underwater the entire time. So yeah, so like that's a good kind of good like theme. Hey, you're trapped underwater. One of you in this room is a murderer. And you need to figure it out, and like stuff keeps going wrong, or it's slowly filling up with water, something like that.
Wet haunted house. I went to a haunted house in like a many levels below the ground, many sub basements below an old brewery, and it was like a little dank down there, but it wasn't wet. Yeah. I'm excited for wet haunted house. You got to bring your own galoshes.
Here's another one. This is one that you actually didn't do. This is the Whatnauts review show episode 1. This was season 1 of the Hulu original show called The Path. And this, God, what's his name? Paul.
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul, yeah. This is the show he did after Breaking Bad, and also stars Will Graham from Hannibal, Hugh Dancy. He's in this show, and Michelle Monaghan, I think is her name. She was in Mission Impossible, all that stuff. I like her. They're all in this, but that whole show is about cults uh, and like being in this like evangelical religious cult, and him like wanting to get out of this cult. So there could be some interesting stuff in there, because there is a thing in that show. I think it comes in season 2 where he's tried to leave. He left for a while, wants to come back, and so they put him in this like containment cell to like it's basically solitary confinement, to like redo his thinking in his mind, and like you need to reflect on all of your sins and stuff like that. While they're like spiking his water with hallucinogens and stuff like that. So there could be some interesting like religious cultish stuff that you could do.
That's interesting. You'd have to do that as like, oh, that sounds difficult to get across in just like the haunted house tableaus that you walk past while somebody pops out and yells at you. But I don't know. Like you said, I wasn't there. I didn't watch the show. Maybe there's plenty of popping out and yelling. Because you know how haunted houses do. Somebody like pops out and like laughs evilly, or they go rawr, or like they've got like a chainsaw with the chain removed, so it's not a weapon, it's just a loud machine.
Yeah, I'm not picturing it like that. I'm picturing it more of like an experience where you like there is some setup of like, hey, you've been inducted into this cult, you are having second thoughts, you know something is up, but you don't know exactly what, and just like this kind of brief setup to like paint your view of some of the things happening in this thing, where you are meant to be suspicious of some of these things here, right? And so yeah, you have these maybe more normal interactions, but you're questioning like, does this mean like human sacrifice? Is that what you're getting at here? Like, what's going on here? Like, and there is this just like, I don't know. But if you know,
I don't know if that would have the same effect if you're like...
It's not explicit, like, well, like, hey, Jim, are you going to the human sacrifice at 8? It's in the gym.
Well, but if you're buying a ticket, you're like, I'm driving out to the cornfield, I'm going to the haunted house. Oh, I see, it's religious cult themed. Like, you're going to walk in fully suspicious already, and any subtext is going to blow up in your mind like, that's a human sacrifice. That's a devil. I know I'm in a haunted house.
I mean, maybe not. Like, they might have some way to figure out a way to twist it or something like that.
The twist of the haunted house is that everything might actually be okay at the end. There has to be a possibility of things being okay to have the haunted house part of it. Another show that I've only seen a handful of episodes of, but I know you know much better. I keep thinking about a Seinfeld haunted house.
Just a million Kramers just barging into the doors.
You just walk through the hallway. They've got 30 Kramers hired. They just open the door and yell at you. And like that plays on a loop, maddeningly on a loop. And like maybe part of it is that you get into the lobby. Dude, well, not that a haunted house is a lobby, but you know, you were like in the little queue to get in, and like whoever's like taking the tickets is like, you're on the list, yes. And they keep letting people go ahead of you, like it's just the Chinese restaurant episode, but you've made it a haunted house somehow.
Cut right, 4. God, yeah, that'd be an experience. That is one I feel like I was like, am I on acid? Like, what is going on here?
I don't know a lot about Seinfeld, but I know that at one point George is going to marry this woman, and then she dies from licking the back of envelopes for too many invitations. Like she dies of envelope poisoning
to their wedding.
Like there's a tableau you can walk. Right.
Yeah.
That's a tableau you can walk past. She's just keeled over dead. You hire a George to cry or whatever it is George does.
Yeah, they have some creepy dolls in Seinfeld too. There's this one character that has like a collection of these creepy dolls, and there's one that looks like George's mother. And he's like trying to have sex with this girl, but there's this like creepy doll that looks like his mom just staring at him.
Oh my gosh. Make a Festivus poll scary somehow.
Yeah. There you go.
Festivus, but it's like really like it looks like a Midsommar or a Wicker Man. Like you've got some sort of
and
small
there you go. It's a cult
town.
You see what I mean? A cult.
But it turns into that after all. Like that's like the finale is this massive Festivus poll. Just like the hall, just like making Elaine dancing scary. Like just an Elaine dancing, but so much that it's violent. Like I don't know if you've watched the 2018 Suspiria yet, but Elaine dancing like that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
2018 Suspiria, but it's not ballet. It's only Elaine dancing.
Last one I want to mention, I think would have some good horror stuff. This one fits though because it already is a horror. Is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the comic that we read with that.
But when I think about that comic, I think the best part was this sort of dramatic irony, omnipotent narrator. And I would love to have that in a haunted house. I've never been in a narrated haunted house. I'd love to experience that. With just an omnipotent voice going like, if you are the sort of person who prays, pray for Harvey Kinkle. As you watch some monster attack the guy dressed like Harvey Kinkle.
Yeah, that could be interesting, right? Like, especially because you know how some haunted houses will plant someone in your group to do all that stuff. So like, what if it is a themed, like it is like, hey, this is a haunted house in that town, and you are on a tour like with all of those characters and stuff like that, or like you are given roles of those characters, like a murder mystery dinner party where you are like you are Harvey Kinkle, you know, you're Sabrina Spellman, you're the aunt, you're this, and so you each like
two aunts
have some kind of role to play in that, not like specific like line, say your line, it's you, but just like you're supposed to be that character, if that makes sense.
There was something else I was thinking about with these. Like, are you in the POV of one of the characters, or are you around the characters? Are you Jerry, or do you have to go through the haunted house with Jerry as he points at everything like, what's the deal with this gory butcher shop? What's the deal with this spooky cornfield? Like, that's it's a regular haunted house, but you're with Jerry Seinfeld, the character. And you get to the end of the maze, like somebody
group in front of you, and Newman's in that one. He's just like, Newman.
Imagine, there's a Jerry planted in your group, and there's another, like, and you can tell that's a Jerry. That's the joke. And there's like another normal person planted in your group, and you go through a normal haunted house with Jerry doing all his Jerry bits. And you get to the end, and then this other plant like is fed up and just kills the Jerry.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's the haunted house.
There you go.
Music plays. Ba-doom, doom, 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 doom,
boom, boom, boom.
I'm gonna actually watch Seinfeld, and we're gonna do this like next year. We're gonna really hash out a Seinfeld haunted house.
This is gonna be great. I cannot wait for you to watch more Seinfeld. But yeah, so I want to end the show on this, unless you have one more example.
No,
do you
that's
have
it.
Thing? Okay. So I brought up The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, because we read volume 1 way back on the review show, October 7th, 2018. Yeah. One volume of this book came out, plus 2 issues. This was meant to be an ongoing series. We read, I think the first 5 is what's collected in that first volume there. There were 2 more after it that came out. Eventually an 8th one did, but it had been some time. I think it was actually like shortly after we did, or like just before maybe the 8th one came out or something. Melissa, I would like to inform you that issue 9 finally came out like a week or 2 ago. Yeah, so
That's strange.
We are like one step closer to finally getting volume 2 of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And if we do, Melissa, we need to do like a Patreon exclusive. Like we need to go back and like continue this because that book was so good. But it was just we just got that one volume. So
yeah.
Oh well, good stuff with that. That. But I think that about wraps us up for this week here on the Captain's Log number 167. So, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows you feel like only you remember. At this time, our Halloween special on Courage the Cowardly Dog should be out for you to listen to.
Great. Good stuff. If you guys want to follow me, I'm at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. No matter what kind of haunted mansion you might find yourself in, we are still just at the Whatnauts. So go like, share, subscribe. That would help us out a ton. Yeah, I think that is about it. So we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.